Well, housing affordability has never been worse in Australia, with new data out this morning showing that home values rose by 1% for the third month in a row. Cotality's data shows the mid-sized capitals recorded the biggest rises, Perth up 2.4% and Brisbane and Adelaide both up 1.9%.
Well, the pace of growth edged up in Sydney and Melbourne as well by 0.5% and 0.3% respectively. And Max Tillman has been crunching the numbers for us in Sydney. Max, tell us the latest.
Good morning, Bridget, and we have been crunching the numbers all morning, and the results that we're getting spat out the other end of our machine here in Sydney are not a good look, particularly for those looking to buy a house. And it really does appear to be those less traditional markets for housing affordability that seem to very much be leading the charge. The usual suspects of Sydney and Melbourne very much falling behind their smaller cousins in those smaller major capitals here around Australia. But as you were saying a little bit earlier, those house prices running hot for the third consecutive month here in Australia, that 1% rise. But let's take a quick look at the monthly data across all the major capitals. Sydney looking at a 0.5% increase. Melbourne rose 0.3%, but it's those smaller capitals where the narrative is really starting to run. They're picking up the slack. Adelaide, Brisbane and Darwin, 1.9% growth over the month, 2.4% for Perth, as you were saying a little bit earlier. Now, annually, it is very much the same tale of the tape. However, those numbers are a little bit larger, as you can imagine. Sydney, 5.1%, Brisbane, 12.8%, Perth, 13.1%, and Darwin, 17%. Now, Eliza Owen from Cotality says a very big part of that seems to be a broad migration west across the continent to Perth, particularly with a lot of job opportunities and obviously that unaffordability that you can find on the East Coast. Let's take a quick listen to what she had to say.
It comes back to a deficit of supply, where listings volumes across Perth are about 40% lower than where they would usually be this time of year based on a historic 5-year average. We've seen really strong interstate migration to Western Australia for the past few years, strong jobs growth, and that's been met with constrained supply.
So supply once again an issue, but the bottom line here is that in the last financial year, only 15% of all homes sold in Australia would be affordable to a median-sized income, which in Australia is $60,000 a year. So affordability, very much an issue.